right back there, looking real good. You know I've been, you too young, it's fine. We've been vibing.
Welcome back to the attack of the Koopas. And today, we're getting deep, we're getting down, we're getting dirty. We're going underground in the town. There's a little bit of lag, but don't worry, guys. I know you are glad to be in the presence of a true Koopa. A true Marky, Larky. Today we're soloing on Dragon Quest, which is another good time, another good game. We're almost done with version 3 here. There's really not much left. I'll give you a little rundown of what we're doing today specifically. It's going to be a little bit of a dungeon, like a little side. I guess you could count this as a full dungeon. Considering that most of the version 1 dungeons are about this size, but just going to do a little bit of puzzles here. Essentially, there is a secret passage in the temple, and before they go in, they'll discuss some wonderful memories. But essentially, this is confirming that the evil will is indeed here in Raja the whole time. It's been right under our noses, just like most things in life, guys. You never know who's there for you and who's really against you. And oftentimes, the people who do these horrible acts that are like, oh my gosh, rape is the worst thing. You can never joke about it. Guess who did it? Probably your dad. To your sister or something crazy like that. It's always the people that are closest to us. And so, with Evil Will, I feel like the lesson that they're trying to teach us is to just, trust and verify. You never really take the shit for granted. But also you have to remember that not everything is so black and white. A lot of people do these evil, horrific things for some misguided sake and purpose of love. So, as you'll see here at the end of the version, most of, the whole Nadraga dragon god thing is mostly just misled history, mistold things, and obvious corruption. But things like that are really out of your hands unless you, communicate effectively. And essentially, none of them could. None of them could because the realms were disconnected before. So, essentially we're solving and causing the problem at the same time, And I think that is kind of what we're doing in America by opening this can of worms. It's, of course, shedding a light onto the horrible things happening, whether it be the racism, the misogyny, and, the toxicity. But yet, at the same time, shedding that light is killing us. It's killing a lot of us. A lot of people see this, they get hopeless, and then they realize, yeah, fuck it, I'm not even going to try. I'm not even going to go down to this basement and, abolish the evil will, because what can I do as one person? But this is just an average failure of the shopping cart test, man. I don't know why most people don't think this, but at the end of the day, it all starts with you. At the end of the day, you picking up your trash or not, throwing your dead cigarette butt out into the wind and just saying, fuck it, oh, whatever. That is what saves the world. I'm not even joking. Ladybug effect, butterfly effect, whatever you want to call it. But it starts with us. Every single person, every single being, every single, anime character riding on a sharkfish. They all have a part to do. They all have a role to play. But this general feeling of hopelessness that's been thrown onto us, that is a lie. We are very powerful as individuals. Is what's being shouted on, and because we all think it's hopeless, we only kind of fight for our own well-being, which I think is a huge flaw because you're only fighting for your own well-being. Soon you will win the fight, and you will be well, but then you'll realize it's really not fun with no one else. I mean, that's just the thing, man. It's really funny now that I realize this, in midst of my ghost mode era, but you have to strategically think about why you're doing these things. I am going ghost mode right now so that I am able to take care of someone else in the future. Because, I've tried to grow and bond with someone in this life. But the problem with that is that every girl or guy wants a partnership. Which is cool, I understand that. But not many people trust my... I don't really lead, I kind of lead by example. Not many people trust my leadership style, of just kind of leaving you to the realms. And then on top of that, partnerships really only work when you're giving equivalent amounts of effort, on everything, or across the board, right? And of course, it's going to be hard to achieve that. It's a very, very difficult balance, right? But communicating effectively and honestly about what you're doing is a huge part of that. And I haven't found many people that can, just honestly say, hey, you're doing way more than me, or hey, I'm doing way less than you, or hey, whatever. And it's not even me either, because like I will vastly overplay the work that other people do, and vastly underplay my work. That's a little bit of a character flaw for me, because once again, I love working, I love spending time with people, and I really don't care about a lot of things in life. I'm just moment to moment having fun with it. I'd say a lot of times before I do something with someone or something or whatever, I always have this inkling of negative anguish that washes over me. And that's because I tend to neurosis over things. I tend to think of every bad situation. So, yeah, I like to go back to that moment to moment. This may not be fun, but I'm going to try it anyway. I may not feel like doing this. I may not feel like talking to this person. I'm going to try it anyway. That's why, in general, I tend to stay away from the whole text-based conversations, because whether you want to think this way or not, they are there forever. And because they are there forever, anything with that kind of, permanence, historic permanence, I hold a lot of stake in. Whether it just be like a throwaway email or a random text I send you, even a letter I write, man, I hold a lot of weight to that. I don't know if there's value over spending this much emotional and mental bandwidth over some bullshit meme I sent to a girl, or a first message on Tinder. I don't know, but that is what I do. So I tend to just stay away from that. The true driving factors of our happiness are our moment to moment experiences in life, and how we relate to those. And honestly, your entire phone is an experience. Like, it's not like I'm talking to these different people and now I'm on YouTube and now I'm on it. No. Your phone is an experience. You have to realize, guys, it's a whole nother world. And, we're really not doing anything when we're in there. Especially on the computers as well. It's more of just a state, a state of being. And I realized in myself, the problem with computers and masculine habits, and how a lot of guys are just going into horrible states of degeneracy and laziness or apathy or whatever. I really think it's the fact that there's no physical element to it. That's how we learn. That's how we interact. We're a very physical nature. So I'd say, guys, if you're struggling and you're a super tech nerd, take a couple walks outside, get a standing desk, maybe get some weights at home. I hate gyms because I'm incredibly competitive. Another reason why I'm doing this solo quest. Because, just like the whole work thing and me not being able to recognize my own efforts, extremely competitive. So if you're even like close to getting to my efficiency level, that tells me that I'm not doing nearly enough. So a gym is not a good place for me, because I'm gonna wring myself ragged maybe 3 days of the week, and then recover for maybe 4 or 5, and then I'm just gonna get off balance. When I'm at home, I can work out every fucking day, simply because whenever I get tired at my desk and I just feel antsy, or I want to do something bad, or I want to, do something horrible like talk to somebody, send a text message, I get too much anxiety over, my relationships, I just get up and work out. Whenever I feel like a bad feeling, like, oh shit, I want to goon or something, I just get up and work out. Whenever I feel like, oh, I want to go, whenever the vices come up, I just get up, do some stretches. It helps. It helps. Whatever you can do to get out of the mind dungeon. It's quite stressful. And there it is. There. But yeah, it's the natural process of getting back to yourself, essentially. Learning, well, I guess unlearning that the world is not entirely for or against you. It's sort of just coming into it with a clean slate. A gray area. if you will, if you will. And it can be hard to, authentically shed those layers of experience that we have. But, you got to start out at level 1. Not everybody's the same. Not every environment's the same. Maybe I can backtrack that a little bit. See, people are different, right? But people are generally like you'll find like the same stack or group anywhere, right? So if you are a rare breed, don't think like, oh, there's no way for me to find someone compatible to me in my area. I'm like, nah, man. You'll always find like a good jumble compilation of the same kinds of people in any environment, I think, honestly, The culture is going to differ, so different percentages, sure. But yeah, people are the same generally everywhere. It's just locking in and understanding that you generally may not be the right for everyone, the right area, the right combination, And a lot of people would view these people that they're not for as time wasters or enemies or evil will, if you will. I mean, but come on, guys. It's just people with our opposite viewpoints. I really don't think there are any true villains. Just probably misled people, confused people, people working with maybe altruistic values, things like that. Very self-serving individuals, but it's still serving someone. I'm the kind of guy that just really doesn't want anyone to die for no reason, except for me, because I don't want to be here. I want a full life for everyone who, desires it. Without getting in the way of other people, I think we all deserve that right, but people definitely confuse rights with privileges. It's scary, man. It's scary. The entitlement has gone crazy nowadays, man. Insanity. That's why I feel like, working this hard is just simply not enough. Just simply not enough to make up for, I don't know, like the apathy of mankind, essentially. That's why, whatever amount you put in, if you love working, just make sure it's something you're sure you'd be okay with doing copious amounts of. Probably more than, you ever dreamed you would have to do. For nothing. For no recognition, no love. No effort put back into you, Just expect that. As a guy, or I feel like even as a girl, as a human, with hope for the world. Because the thing is, until a lot more of the people who are actively like succubying and draining the world of its resources, decide to either pick up a rock or stop stop the lazy attitudes and perpetuating the fact that we are just here and deserve things for showing up. Because a lot of people do really think that, especially the people with the rich nepotism parents. They don't really have to think like, oh man, let me see what job benefits society. They often think I can just kind of wait, which is okay. That's a fucking, that's a perspective to have, certainly. I'd say in some ways it's not too different from what I'm doing, or what from you could be doing, my friend, my fellow brokey. Because going back to what I was saying before, once you find something that you love so much that you feel like you just do it for nothing, do it for 6 months straight, and it's not gonna feel like work anymore. It's gonna feel like, God, man, I don't know how I would be if I didn't do this today. It would be very weird. I would feel like something is wrong. And yeah, it is slavery. But the less we start, the less. I don't know where I'm going with this sentence, but it's definitely traveling. It's definitely traveling. The less blind we are to the fact that corporatism is abject blind slavery. You know, that now we just choose our slave masters, which I think is fantastic. I mean, pain is the main way to grow. And being a slave to yourself, or whatever your goal is the main way to facilitate pain for that growth. You know, discipline is one of the, not only the most like, attractive traits, but one of the easiest ones to build success off of. Whatever you want to define that as. And I think just truly witnessing, you know, what the boomer generation has done with this quote unquote unchosen slavery is convincing us that yeah, if we don't like what we're doing, we got to change it 100%. And it's on us. It's on us, man. Because you're in this corporatism world of America, of the US, of Japan. I actually checked out my statistics. I have a lot of Russians in here, which is very strange. I didn't expect that. I didn't expect, especially because a lot of my videos get blocked in like Russia, in like Europe, in Germany, I think. So apologies there if you guys like the shorts, my fellow Russians, but it is what it is, man. It is what it is. Y'all gotta stop being so hard on Kendrick Lamar. But anyways, I would say. Well, I completely lost my train of thought just talking about Russians, but I would say generally in this pilfer environment of the capitalism, corporatism, and all this bullshit. Generally, you have to remember that it's not all about the one, the group, the collective, you know, in the corporate environment. Sure, they can say that. They can say that till the cows come home, you know. But nowadays, I look at actions. I look at actions. I look at numbers. You know, it's the only thing that really matters in the grand scheme of things. And I know how I work. You have to know how you work, man. I know how I work. When I go to work and I am being paid on the clock, I don't really like stop. I don't like stopping. As you can see here, I'm not even getting paid for this. But I imagine my payment is just, you know, the one or two comments I get every now and then, you know, the beautiful amount of views I get when I wake up in the morning. You know, just the satisfaction of one person smiling and replaying the video 40 times or whatever. I don't care. I see number go higher. That is my payment, you know? And also, you have to recognize how you work. You know, a lot of people are really proud of their efficiency, but they just don't like doing it. At any job I go to, and this usually pisses some people off, whether it be my management, whether it be my other coworkers, at any job I go to, I find some way to smile, laugh, have fun. I'm also, you know, very musically involved, very dancerly involved. So, you know, I be moving around there. You know, I do. I will go ahead and say it. You know, a lot of people oftentimes would just, you know, before I even identified as someone who was bi, would call me the gay manic pixie dancer dude, you know, whatever you want to call it. But I recognize the fact that most of the time back in the day, even when I was in high school and I loved doing all this art shit, I recognize the fact that the men are usually in history have been the greatest artists, and there's been this whole psyop of men in creativity where everyone thinks you're gay if you do art or if you dance, if you do ballet, or if you make music that's, you know, not rap and you're black. And it's funny that a lot of people really do take offense to this. You know, it's someone who this is just how it seems, you know, to me, how I think I seem to other people. It just seems like I am always having fun no matter what. which I can tell you is very, very untrue. Very, very untrue, you know? I just try to portray it that way. And of course, it comes off right. And I say this because life is performative. So if you're someone who's like, oh, I don't like life being performative, I'm going to roll against that. Sure, roll against it, but that doesn't stop life from being performative, buddy. That don't stop that shit. I have the huge goal to be the best there ever was, Pokemon style. You know, greatest entertainer ever. So if I'm going to do that, you know, like, why would I stop it just because I have to make a smoothie or pack a bag or, you know, fucking check someone out at the counter or whatever I'm doing? Just because I have to walk to work doesn't mean I can't put on some music and jam in my headphones. So that's the thing, guys. You gotta recognize how you're working. And if it's not, you know, something that brings you happiness while you're producing efficiency, then I'd say fucking cut it off or change the method or whatever. It's not worth it, man. It's not worth it. All this corporate bullshit to sacrifice your kid-like childhood nature and destroy your inner child for the sake of some adult corporate bastard. God. Stupid. You're gonna kill yourself. You are. You won't even get murdered. You'll do it yourself. Willingly and openly, because, you know, it's not like they're actually giving us the funds to live out our lives the way we want to in our off time. It's the main reason why love is dying. We don't have time for that shit. I got 2 jobs, man. I got the side hustle. You know, where are we supposed to go? Coffee shop? You don't respect that shit. And the funny thing is, a lot of these people that are, you know, complaining that everyone is too lazy and nobody wants to work, they're perpetuating this attitude that, you know, the world is way more fair than it seems to be. And that's why I just can't stand it, because a lot of people buy into that, you know, truly and wholeheartedly. This is why the internet feels so much more brighter to me. And I don't know if this is just because, you know, everyone's like me and they don't go outside, which makes sense, because I go outside a lot, guys. I really only see, like, old people, maybe like the 1 or 2 super attractive joggers. And that's like it, you know? There's nobody like actually outside just literally having fun. Exploring, seeing what's on the ground. Reading, chilling outside, just having a drink. Hanging out, talking. There are some couples walking a baby. But like, I don't know, man. It's very depressing to see what's changed now. I feel like when I was my age, I saw some dudes chilling around the neighborhood. I don't know, man. Could just be where I'm at too. But yeah, in general, guys, life is not a straight line. It's more of a circle. Life is not black and white. It's more gray. And you have to love the journey. You have to love the journey. You have to love telling your story too. I guess you don't have to love telling your story. The problem is nowadays you have to like commoditize and, you know, monetize everything. So, I'd say my tale of woes and the guidelines I will set dictate that you have to tell a story. But you probably shouldn't want to be the greatest entertainer of all time. So if you don't, maybe hold off from the story. You will value your privacy, I promise you. So yeah, we're dead. I think I'm gonna come back next time with the rest of this episode. But subscribe. I love you. Gray areas. See you later, guys.